So, welcome to tonight's Yoga for Simplicity. My name is Michele from Be the Change Holistics, and I am grateful to have you join me for this roughly 45-minute practice. So, the point of this offering really is to simplify. The theme for the month through Be the Change Holistics for this month of April 2024 is stress management and burnout. And what I have come to note with these undercurrents that sometimes trickles in of overwhelm, exhaustion, doing, going, all of the things. The antidote to that is to simplify, to slow it down, to really pause. And the shape that we're going to work with tonight, Supta Baddha Konasana 1, is near and dear to my heart because it is a go-to shape that I practice regularly. To be fully transparent, it's pretty much the only shape that I regularly practice. And I can be in the shape for anywhere from 30, 40, 50. I've been in the shape for actually almost 2 hours at one point. So the point of simplifying our practice instead of adding more to the chaos that can sometimes happen in our lives is to strip away, to let go, and to allow for that fight or flight state that we live in, and that is okay, that is beautiful, but for that state to take a little bit of a rest, and for our parasympathetic nervous system to take the lead, for it to be the driver, and for us to rest, to soften. So there are many beautiful benefits of this shape. It's really great for if you struggle with coming right to the floor during your practice right away. A lot of the times, if we're in our head, we're feeling overwhelmed, anxious, lots going on in our mind, lots of vata. It is nicer to come into this 30-degree angle just to slowly allow our body to acclimate to the grounding sensation that happens when we come to the earth. So in our shape, you'll see with all of the support, specifically your lower body is right on the earth or close to the earth. So there's that grounding sensation of the root chakra, the lower parts of the body, but also it's that gentle allowing of gravity to pull everything down. So it is a really nice grounding shape. It's a great shape for if you are pregnant, if you are postpartum, if you are menopausal, if you are heavily menstruating. This is a really lovely shape to work with. And so I'm going to offer multiple modifications as we get into the shape. And my only rule, honestly, is if you're comfortable, stay where you are and tune me out. So if I offer different prompts, different tips, tricks, whatever throughout the shape, if you're cozy, ignore me and stay where you are. At the end of our practice, I will cue you out of the shape if you would like to transition out of the shape and back into your day or your evening. But if you're comfortable and have the time and energy to remain, please stay exactly where you are. All right. So, all of that being said, let's take a moment to pause before we transition to our shape. If you are choosing to work with a playlist, please please press play if you're working with the playlist. Now, I choose to practice restorative yoga in complete silence. For me, silence is a rare commodity in this season of my life. But if you prefer having some sound in the background, please hit play. And we're going to come to our seat. Take a minute to just land wherever you are practicing, whether you are on a mat, maybe you're in your bed. Breath in, hold it at the top of the inhale and sigh it out. Do that 2 more times. Big breath in. Last one. So as you may note, I have lots of props around me to show you lots of ways to get into Supta Baddha Konasana. So if you don't have one version of a prop, There's multiple other versions in your home. So we're going to start by setting ourselves up with a 30-degree angle. So what you'll see here is I have 3 blocks. If you only have 2, that's fine. Just eliminate this bottom one, place a block at its highest height, a second block at its medium height, and then you're going to place a bolster or a couch cushion, whatever you have available to you, onto your 30-degree angle. Now you can always flip a chair and use the backing of a chair if that feels more stable for you. And you can always use extra cushioning, extra blankets. You're going to see if this setup feels kind of soggy on the back, it's going to affect your expansion of your lungs. So you really want to make sure the surface underneath you is firm enough, but that is comfortable that you can sink into. Okay. Next, you want to make sure that the surface we're going to be sitting on is comfortable, especially given that we're going to be in the shape. I'm going to say about 25 minutes, hopefully a little bit longer than that. And at the end of our time together, I will let you know how long you will have been in the shape for. But you can always place a blanket underneath your seat, especially if your tailbone's going to get irritated. And so we're going to start to transition in this way. So our back is going to come down onto our support. Now, we want to place something underneath the knees. I have a second bolster, so that's what I'm going to use. But you can also roll up a blanket. You can use, you can use a rolled up blanket, a rolled up comforter, bath towels, anything. But you want to have a second roll. So I'm going to use a second blanket and roll it and place it underneath my Achilles tendons. We don't want to put anything underneath the heels because that's going to cause some frustration in our being. Okay, so we want to let the heels hang, really important. Whatever support you use under the knees, you want to make sure it's about double the thickness from what you use to support underneath the Achilles tendon. Okay, so you can see my blanket roll is about half the size of my bolster. So just something to gauge for setting yourself up into this shape with utilizing whatever you have. Sometimes I don't have an extra available blanket, so I'll just use a cushion from my couch, but I make sure that my heels are floating. Okay, so that's another option as well. All right. Now we want to also make sure that we've got some really good head support. We want to make sure that the chin is going to be slightly tucked in and that you really feel supported around the neck. That's going to stimulate the vagus nerve and allow for us to slip into that rest and digest state. So the best way that I would recommend is you're going to take 2 blankets, or maybe you have a towel or something along the lines. You're going to fold it in a way that you get one good corner. Okay, that's a good corner. There we go. That good corner is going to be kind of like a pizza wedge. We're going to place it at the top of our bolster or cushion here. The point of your pizza wedge is going to come towards C7. There's the base of the cervical spine. Okay. And then we're going to take a second blanket. We're going to fold it in almost in half. 45% of the fold is on the top and 55% of the fold is on the bottom. Not sure if you can see that, but the top part of the fold is a little shorter than the bottom. And then you're going to place that over top. The reason for all of this folding situation is because eventually once we get into this shape, we're going to wrap our head to really support the neck. If all else fails and this does not feel accessible to you or feels like too much work or is not comfortable, you can always use a pillow and put it underneath your head, okay? So don't make this more complicated than it has to be, right? So we've got the legs set up, we've got our head support ready for us. We want to make sure to have a blanket to cover ourselves up. Anytime we're getting into some restorative shapes, it's common that we get cold because our sympathetic is taking a little bit of a break. So we want to make sure, if you're not already in your PJs or maybe have some warm socks on. Okay, so have your blanket close by. Wrap those toes. And as far as arm support, so there's a couple options that you can utilize. So you can either grab a couple, especially if you're prone to being warm or don't like to have pressure over your heart or your chest. Sometimes just having these couch cushions is just all you need for some coziness, okay? We want to make sure the elbows are below the wrists and that our joints are fully supported. Another option that you can use for arm support is if you have a strap. So this is nice if you are needing to feel a little more cozy in your shape, a little less, I don't want to say a little less open, but a little bit more tucked in, cocooned is probably the better word. So I've got my strap set up, and what I'm going to do is slip my strap to my upper arms, and then I'll thread my hands through. Okay, so hands over the heart. You can make this strap as tight as you would like. Okay? And so then when you lower down, and you don't necessarily need the pillows because the strap is going to support your arms, and then you would cover up with your blanket. Okay, so that's another option. Whatever choice you choose for the arms, you just want to make sure that your arms aren't dangling, because that's stress for the shoulder joints, and it's going to be more challenging to slip in a state of rest. Okay, so legs are sorted, Achilles tendon are supported, but support under the knees. We've got our blanket covered up. Maybe we are sitting on some kind of support. Your back feels cozy as you recline back. You know how your arms are going to be set up. The last two pieces are eye covering. So whether you have an eye pillow or just like a face cloth is great, a tea towel that will be going over the eyes, because that gentle pressure helps with introspection and tuning out from the rest of the world. And then finally, you want to take the sides of your blanket, if you are using a blanket, and you want to roll them inwards. And as you roll, you're going to notice that there's like this cozy tucking in support that happens, and the chin gradually drops in towards the chest. And it's just this really cozy, like sighing experience almost, or it can be. So once you've got your body sorted in however it wants to be, making sure your head, neck, and shoulders are supported, that your arms are cozy, whether you have them in your wrap or you have some pillows supporting the arms, making sure that you cover up as much as you would like with your blanket. We're closing down the eyes, placing some kind of cover over them. And then we're going to land. Making any final adjustments that you might need. sweeping your body with your unwavering, undivided attention and awareness, noticing if you need anything else before releasing the act of doing the shape and commit to simply being in the shape. Let the comfort of the props that you have chosen rise up to support you, and in return, offer that sweet surrender of your being to your props, releasing any attachment to what may come through over the next approximately 30 minutes, getting curious about how this shape may soothe your nervous system, may offer you a little time away from the constant thinking, doing, accomplishing, executing, and curious about just being. No need to worry about the time. I will watch the clock for you so that you can fully release into your shape, letting go, enjoying the simplicity of one shape. this time, you will have been in your Supta Baddha Konasana shape for roughly 25 to 30 minutes. So if your body, your being is craving a longer time in this shape, please completely tune out the sound of my voice and remain exactly where you are. If you're wanting to return to your evening or your day, very gently integrating gentle movements within your being, deepening the breath, and coming back from this shape at a pace that feels appropriate for you. Maybe there's a little stretch happening, a sigh on an exhale, whatever it is that you may need. And if you are looking to close our practice of yoga for simplicity, taking your time to roll off to your side, remembering that you are elevated. So whether you roll off completely off your support or roll onto your side, onto your bolster, and bring yourself to a seated shape. Be covering up your being with your blanket. Once you arrive, bringing both palms over the heart, or one hand over the heart, one hand over the low belly, tuning in to your own energy, beating of your heart, the gift of the inhale and the exhale as you gently bow inwards, this offering a sign of gratitude for yourself, for taking the time to practice the simplicity of one yoga pose. You could have been anywhere else, but you chose to be here. And for that, and for the magic that you are, I bow to you and offer my gratitude. Thank you for joining. Wishing you such a beautiful evening or rest or day wherever you're heading off to. Namaste. Whenever you do exit your shape, my invitation is to stay in the state of rest for as long as you can. If it is accessible to you to go into bed, to stay away from electronics, I know that we are on an electronic device right now for the practice, but if you can, steer clear of electronics and maybe make yourself a tea or just snuggle into bed, whatever suits you. Thank you so much. Be well.